Attention and focus. Is it possible to shift your attention and focus towards your goals and plans without resistance, division, conflicts, remorse, and distortions? Can you simply change your mood or the state of mind without any struggle and resistance? To understand this matter, we need to investigate, question, and discuss the issues which prevents the person from being attentive, present, and from being able to focus, such as mind wandering, mind chattering, overthinking, and most of all being all-time absent-minded. How come a person can be physically present but mentally and emotionally absent while at work, inside classroom, practicing sports, performing on stage, standing in a stadium, giving presentation, or simply among friends and family members, trying to have good time? First part. Let's talk about resistance. What is resistance and how it happens? How it can prevent the person from being able to simply shift attention and focus. To clarify this matter, we need to understand why most people have a tendency to dwell and to live in the past, both emotionally and mentally. What is pulling them backwards and preventing them from moving forward towards goals, plans, or simply to remain still, calm, attentive, and present for their daily tasks? Can you observe and watch deeply what is always taking your breath away and consuming your energy resources most of the time? Before going any further, please remember that this is simply a dialogue and a conversation between two friends. There is no authority here to dictate what to do. As a matter of fact, part of our conditioning and programming since childhood is to follow, imitate, repeat, and copy. This is what have given birth to such mind, which is dull, trapped, enslaved, and addictive. Let's talk about the issue of memory. What is memory? Isn't it a mixture of experiences and time? So can a person exist without memory? Will you have an identity without memory? When a person suffers from dementia, can he or she interact probably with others, perform tasks, and have skills and intelligence? Of course not. So, our memories of events, people, emotions, thoughts, and images are who we are, and we cannot separate ourselves from them. We can't escape or deny them. Any forms of division and separation will always result in conflicts. When there is division, there must be conflicts. On the other hand, your attention and reaction is what sustain those memories. You are the fuel that keeps them running. Your reaction is what gives them vitality. Therefore, you always have the upper hand and the control. When your reaction is intense, they get stronger and longer. So is it possible to not identify with them, to not respond to them, but to simply observe them and watch them without division, resistance, struggle, and distortion? Is it possible to shift your attention and focus towards your goals and plans, away from memory archive, away from that particular event or from that particular person or that particular emotion and feeling which always pulls you backwards towards the past? Second part. Division. What do we mean by division and separation? How it happens, and why it's considered an obstacle to hold the person from directing thoughts, emotions, and feelings towards his or her objectives. To clarify this matter, we need to go directly to the source and to the root of the problem. So, are you ready to unfold the deep layers of the mind, to explore the hidden parts of the brain? To see and look into your own conditioning and programming, your addictions, attachments, and dependency? Otherwise, we will simply remain superficial with temporarily solutions, waiting for periodical circumstances, chances, and coincidence. For change and development to take place by their own, which is not possible and which always results in endless empty loop. Have you ever noticed that as people grow older, their resistance, inclination, and attachment towards things becomes less and less? They start to lose interests in many things and begins to drop them. So, why can't we simply drop them all at first place from the beginning? The real change starts within ourselves. It must first happen inwardly, inside us, before it takes place outwardly, in the outside in the world. Once you rule your inner kingdom, then you can conquer and rule the world. Division happens when your heart is in one place, your mind is in other place, and your body is in different place. Whenever there is division, there must be conflicts. So, isn't it time to pull yourself together as a whole? To synchronize your wishes, desires, your emotions and thoughts with your goals and plans. Your memory archive is who you are. You can't escape or run away from it. No matter what are the means used to ignore it, fight it, hate it, or even love it and cherish it, this is your identity and your history. Therefore, any form of separation and division will always result in conflicts and eventually wars. So, once you stop all forms of resistance and divisions within yourself, you will have the choice. The switch on-off button. The upper hand. Third part. Remorse and sorrow are always preventing people from shifting their attention and from focusing on their goals and plans. The state of melancholy, depression, and sadness is actually a form of conditioning, programming, and attachment. When a person tries to shift attention towards joy, happiness, fun, and satisfaction, he or she often experiences a sense of shame and a feeling of betrayal and guilt towards past memories for not honoring them and for not keeping their memory alive, by being sad and alone, by refraining from joy and happiness even in thoughts and imagination. To investigate and to find out about this issue, we need to go further back to the beginning of memory formation. That is to say, to early childhood, when the brain starts to become programmed and conditioned by all form of authorities. Our concern here is the fact that we didn't have a choice or a hand in everything we have been exposed to as children. This happened while we were unaware, unconscious, and undeveloped. So, there is no need to feel ashamed, guilty, or a traitor when trying to shift attention and focus. As a matter of fact, when a person is not developed and matured emotionally, he or she might be cheated by own memory and betrayed by own thought to keep them enslaved, trapped, and limited to the past. To any particular event or particular person where he or she was emotionally, physically, and mentally abused. It is obvious that this will constitute a blockage and a knot to always pulls the person backwards, towards that particular memory and event. Part 4. Attention and focus. In order to concentrate, to focus, and to shift attention towards anything you like, from smallest wishes and desires to biggest plans and goals, there is no need to be energetic, enthusiastic, and optimistic. Just do it without resistance, division, conflicts, and distortion. We don't hold with hands, but with heart. Therefore, to become strong both physically, mentally, and emotionally, you need to start from the inside, from the ideas, thoughts, emotions, and feelings. Those are the driving force. The stronger the belief is, the more energy the person is willing to invest in. So this is all mental. Once you conquer your internal fears, ideas, and illusions, you can conquer the world. At the beginning, you don't have to start with main goals and objectives. Begins with small objects, familiar ones, and keep on shifting your attention, focus, and concentration gradually until you regain your full consciousness and awareness and presence. As a matter of fact, this is how memory playback works. It starts with known and familiar objects first, and then it extend and expand to bigger ones until it turns the person unconscious, unaware, and absent-minded. Wandering, chattering, and dwelling in a central idea or in a particular event, feelings, or person which occupies the strongest and the most devastating feelings, your memory archive. Every time a person tries to shift attention, to focus, or simply to have different mood, the memory archive will use anything surrounding the person as strings to pull his or her attention backwards and lead them strict to that central idea, particular event, person, or feeling which is stored, registered, and protected. Being aware, mindful, and conscious about these facts can help tremendously to take the initiative and to be in charge of our own self. So, it is possible to reverse the same engineering of memory-achieved playback and try consciously, with full determination, to shift attention and focus, and to not fall for any twist and turns of the memory by simply not resisting, dividing, and reacting to it. Of course, you can. This is in fact who you are and what you are. You simply don't know how to reach for it and how to use it. Let's summarize what we have discussed, questioned, and investigated together. Please note there is no authority here to give instructions and dictations. We are simply observing and watching our own conditioning and programming, which prevents people from shifting attention and focus towards goals and plans. We are discussing and investigating the issues which holds people backwards towards past memories, disturbing events, and abusive persons, which constitutes the central idea, the thoughts, the emotions and feelings, which the mind always comes back to it and keep on looping around it. First and foremost, let's look at the issue of memory archive. As highlighted, we can use the same technique of memory playback, but consciously. That is to say, we visualize and imagine goals and plans and simply shift attention and focus towards them without any resistance and struggle. As noted and observed, the brain always resists change and take refuge in familiar objects and in comfortable zone, which are mostly from the past. Although those past memories contains pains, sorrow, and agony, as long as they are familiar and known, the brain favors them and prefers them against the unknown and the unfamiliar. This is simply because the brain already established connections with them and knows the feelings, the pains, and reactions which associate with them. Our brains throughout the years has become heavily conditioned, programmed, attached, and addicted. The mind becomes dull, trapped, limited, and repetitive. Furthermore, the brain is capable to take action internally within the body to pull the person backwards towards past memories by creating muscle contractions, nerves impulses, chemical changes, heavy breath, changes in heart rate, increases in body temperature, pains, fatigue, sleepiness, lack of appetite, anxiety, stress, worries, and senses of fear to prevent changes and shift of attention and concentration. Of course, we don't have a hand in most of those programs, as we have been simply imitating, copying, and repeating what the authorities instructed and dictated us what to do since childhood, early brain development, while we were unconscious and unaware, without our consent and approval. Unfortunately, this is how the brain operates. This is what makes us humans, and distinguish us from other creators with whom we are sharing the world. Therefore, you can simply shift attention and focus towards goals and plans without holding feelings of guilt, shame, and betrayal, which the memory always projects to prevent the person from change. So, the real change must happen first internally. That is to say, within ourselves, and then it can be manifested into action. Once the person conquers his or her own feelings, thoughts, and emotions, he or she can conquer the world.